Hi, I'm Milt Williams, Chair of the Conflicts of Interest Board. It's our June 18th, 2025 meeting, and we're going to start it with the public meeting. So go right ahead.
Great, thanks, Chair Williams. We're gonna designate Catherine Miller as our recording secretary, and Deputy General Counsel Christopher Hammer is going to provide some opening remarks, and then we'll open it up for discussion.
Thank you. Before the board today are amendments to the board rules regarding the reporting of gifts to the city to require specific information about the acceptance of travel-related expenses such as airfare, ground transportation, hotel, and meals. At present, city agencies are required to report donations to the city of $5,000 or more, the name of the donor, and the value of the donation. The annual disclosure law requires annual disclosure filers to report travel-related expenses paid by third parties of $1,000 or more, including to identify the third party that paid for travel, to describe the travel-related expenses paid, and to report the value by range of the travel-related expenses. This proposal would harmonize the two reporting requirements and establish them in a new rule to provide a more robust reporting system. The proposal would reduce from $5,000 to $1,000 the threshold for reporting gifts to the city, and would enhance transparency by requiring the reporting of details about travel that is already collected as part of the agency approval process.
Okay, so thoughts from the board?
I'll say a word on. I thank staff for all this work, and more like at times I get more confused, but I think I've begun to come out of that now and have a sense of what this is about. It's a nice job of knitting these things together. I gather that the annual disclosure piece of it is mandated by law, and the other two pieces we're dealing with, the gift of travel rule and the official fundraising are doing, that is rulemaking.
Yes.
And that's a with a complicated history. I'll just add a word about the history. All these things are related to gifts to the city. Been part of the board's jurisdiction for some years, particularly as it concerns travel, and probably for 25 years and longer, going back to the Board of Ethics. This body and its predecessors concerned about fundraising, and rulings in favor or supporting of fundraising tend to come up when there's financial crises in the city. It happened in the 70s with the Board of Ethics. It happened to this board in the early aughts after September 11th. Natural to those times to look for whatever help government can get to keep providing services to the public. When times are fatter, people begin to notice, hey, what about this money? It's possible corrupting influences. I mean, corrupting probably too strong a word, but maybe just a concern that there are appearances of impropriety, if that, with respect to these gifts and how to regulate them. The board found itself with this charge, and I think rightly took up the mantle, although with occasional note voiced by a few, and sometimes around this table, that it was sometimes hard to identify the personal interest as opposed to the whatever other kind of conflict there might be, and this board's particular charge typically involves a conflict between one's personal interests and the public and their public duties. Here, it's less clear. There's always a personal interest involved. Occasionally, there is, but I think we struggled well with that. I just add this as kind of an historical footnote and say maybe to those who sit around this table in the next 5 and 10 and 15 years, be aware of that. I think we're doing pretty well on it. It's going to, I predict, it'll be a slightly bumpy road at times, only because it's been that in the past. I think we're doing some nice work here to smooth it, but there's always things outside our control, not in the subject area. So good luck to all of us.
I have just a clarifying question. So
Yes.
if an organization wants an employee to come moderate a panel at a conference,
Yes.
because I want Chris
Yep.
to come moderate this, and they pay for Chris's travel and hotel, and he's brilliant and dazzles them and comes home. Chris has to report it on his disclosure, and the agency has to disclose it under the new rule.
Under the new rule, that's right.
So it's reported in both places.
It's reported in both places if it's $1,000 or more. Yes.
Assuming that Chris is in fact an annual disclosure filer, right? Yeah,
That's
which
right.
is they're about well, there are about 9,000 annual disclosure filers and many more,
Absolutely.
300,000 public servants. So there's a small number of people for whom that would be the case, though also likely that those 9,000 people probably travel more than
Then,
the average
Yes.
public servant. Yeah.
so you'd be capturing more, because not everybody wants
Yeah.
disclosure.
Correct.
Any other questions, concerns? Okay, then if the board wants to vote to move this on to the next step, which would be to the law department and the mayor's office of operations for their step in this process, we just need a motion and second and vote.
So moved.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that's what we shall do. Thank you. everyone.
Thank you.